Oh, there we go.
Oh.
All right, everyone. You think we got this down by now, but hey, we're still going. We're still learning
It's
as well.
live TV.
That's right. Episode 4. So, welcome again to the Author's Dilemma podcast, and I'm one of your hosts, J.E. Jack. I write urban fantasy and paranormal thrillers.
And I'm Hyrum Hawks, and I write hard sci-fi and sci-fantasy.
And I am Jennifer Carr, and I write Christian suspense and contemporary romance.
And you have a book release you need to brag about.
I do. Today is book launch day for my latest book, Fall When You're Ready. It's available on Amazon Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, and you can get signed copies at my website, jcarwrites.com.
And I am halfway through it, and it is spectacular, and it's not even what I normally read. And I'm like dying because I'm so mad that I can't just do nothing but read the book.
Yes, we'll have to revisit that at the end of the show, so that way, hopefully, more people will see it. So, so last week we talked about tools, and this week we're going to talk about tools, and next week and the week after that, and probably next anyway. So last week we talked about what we used, right? And we talked about the different like Scrivener, Word. Which, by the way, Hyrum, I looked at that forthewords.com that you talked about, and that was really interesting. I thought that was that is a great start for someone that doesn't know where to start.
Yeah, and with someone who's depressed.
And boy, then that's all of us, huh?
Depending on the day.
If you need gamification, go to For the Words.
Yeah. So, real quick, if you're watching now, be sure to say hello. We can see them in the comments. And if you have any questions for this evening, as we talk about what we use, or what you like to use, be sure to, pop it in the comments and we will talk about it because we like to have a conversation here. So, like I said, last week we talked about, the start, how to write, edit. And so what's next?
What's next? I think next up on our list, we kind of left off where we were going to start talking about marketing and productivity tools, which are some of my favorite things because I love productivity.
All right.
I'm glad you do.
Martha Johnson says hello. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. I hope you enjoy the show. If you have any questions, be sure to follow up. And thank you for sharing it with us.
Absolutely.
Your evening.
Yes. So as far as marketing and productivity, I'll just jump in here. It's one of the things that the three of us have kind of talked about is how important it is to have a newsletter, which is a whole episode in and of itself. Because if you've ever subscribed to a newsletter, you can tell a lot about the person that's sending it. For me, I like to use MailChimp as my newsletter sender. They have free, they have paid, they have different features that you can add in, scheduling and that kind of thing. And so I just really like it because it's kind of a drop and go. Like you can just upload your stuff and it has these pre-formatted everythings and you just put it in there and go. So that's my preference.
Mm-hmm. Well, Hyrum, what do you like?
I use MailerLite, but not because I've never tried MailChimp, so I wouldn't know. And MailerLite is cheap as free at the level I'm at. So that's entirely why I use it.
Yeah.
See, my problem is it's not necessarily the program they use, whether it's MailChimp or MailerLite. My problem is being consistent with it, because and here again, for those of you that were on my newsletter, how often I send stuff out, which it's probably been a year, which is let's talk about that. I mean, life gets in the way sometimes. Because we're all at the beginning of our writing careers here, and so a lot of the tool, or a lot of the things that we have to do to get out there, it's almost like, remember those old shows or those old talent shows where the person was spinning the plates, like the broom handle and the plates, and they're going around trying to spin. That's basically what we do, trying to do professionally, right, on our own. So anyway, so when I tried MailerLite, MailerLite for a while, and it worked very well. I liked how you could chain your emails where they would auto send to people. But my problem, like I said, this past year was kind of a difficult year for various reasons, and I just kind of forgot about it, to be honest with you. And so when I went back, they deleted my account, so I got to start all over again. Don't be me. If you start that if you go down that route, be sure to check your accounts because you may find that they're not there anymore.
A use it or lose it situation.
Right. But hey,
I do have a strategy that started working for me.
Oh yeah.
So I hate newsletters for the most part, simply because I already have 14 trillion emails coming like every 2 days. So I don't want to read more emails, but I also know I'm supposed to do this. Some people do enjoy them, and those people tend to, read books too. I made it a game, and my newsletter, I am writing it as if I am a space alien stuck on this planet, working as an engineer and writing books for fun and trying to kind of fly under the radar, but still be just blunt about it. Now, maybe I really am a space alien and this is all covered, but if I treat it as a game, I have now sent out newsletters since October every month because now it's a game. And I had sent out no newsletters before that because now at least I can say I'm being entertained by writing the newsletter. And so I have had 2 people write back saying, this is a fun newsletter.
Yeah.
And so that's enough motivation for me. I mean, heck, my wife saying she likes my books was enough motivation for me to write like 1 million words. So it doesn't take much to encourage me.
Oh, love that.
I had a thought, but I lost it, unfortunately. But no, actually, you bring up an interesting point. Like, it would be kind of cool if, and here again, this is, probably an idea free for the taking, but, you talk about gamification for your writing, and now you made it into a game for yourself. I'm like, it would be interesting if they had like some sort of website out there that could verify this stuff and like give you points.
Business idea.
All right, smart guy, you get on that. And but I will say,
you're an engineer.
That's right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jen.
I was just going to say with MailChimp and with my newsletter in general, and again, we're kind of like focusing here on the newsletter thing, but that's okay. We're still in the same ballpark. I go in, and this is where your Chat GPT will come into play. And you can tell it, you can go in, give it a prompt and say, hey, I need a newsletter I go in and I'll say, okay, I am a 40-year-old female author who writes this genre, and I need a newsletter that themes around this month, and I will have it write it like ideas for what I can put in my newsletter. And then I just kind of go in and fill in the blanks. And then I just schedule them in advance. And that way, like this morning, all I had to do was be like, verified that it sent. Oh, it sent. It's fine. I don't even have to really worry about it because it's been scheduled for the last 2 months. And so, do a like front load. And then you can worry about it later. Just remember to go check on it later.
I'm playing with crayons, and Jen is writing theses for her PhD. That's awesome. I feel, that's. I need to start taking notes.
Josh, we talk all day, every day. Yeah, you can go back and watch. Hey, there's a great podcast called The Author's Dilemma. If you don't mind, I'll share the link later.
Yes, thank you, because we all need a little, help.
Right.
And that's what we're here for. And honestly, I mean, that's what we are here for. And that's the cool thing about this show. And that's the cool thing about, for what?
I just got blurry.
Oh. So for those that aren't watching live with us right now, Jen's camera just blurred out, and now
I'm going into witness protection.
She looks like I'm drunk, so I don't know.
I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening. Okay. Right. This is chaotic, y'all.
Yeah. All right. Getting back on topic. Sorry, guys. All right. So you do it once a month, your newsletter?
The main newsletter, which I've got my main newsletter, which is called The Blurb. And so it will go out on the 1st of every month. But then if I'm going to send something random through the month, whether there's like a new book launch coming out normally I do that at the beginning of the month. But if it comes out in the middle of the month, I'm going to do it on the middle of the month. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to schedule it because I know when it's going to happen. Anyway, yeah. But yes, the 1st of the month that's better. Is when I normally send my main newsletter.
She's now back in high def, everyone. So
actually, it's lower def. So there we go.
Oh, okay, all right. Hyrum, do you do once a month or?
That's my goal. I went about 6 weeks last time, but then I'm going to go 2 weeks from now because my book release is in 2 weeks. So
okay,
so I'm going to do it extra.
So with so Facebook can't talk, excuse me. Facebook Meta Business, you can schedule those for free, right? And Hootsuite, what's the difference between the basic and the paid? Does anybody know?
Yeah.
I don't know what social media management means.
Okay. So Jen.
Let's let Jen.
Hi, welcome to the social media management portion of our show. Yes. So Hootsuite has, and it's changed a lot what they used to offer for free and what they no longer offer for free. It used to be that it was only for certain platforms, and then it was only I think it was multiple platforms, and now you get like one platform for free kind of thing. And the scheduling, you can't schedule it out as far in advance. At least that's what it used to like. It might have changed. I haven't used it recently because Facebook's scheduling and planner got so much better. I don't have to use Hootsuite. So,
right. I think a couple of years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, I used Hootsuite. Actually, probably longer than that. Probably 5 or 6 years. I used Hootsuite, and it was actually pretty good because it would go to Twitter, it would go to Facebook, it would go to Instagram. It would, you could schedule them all. But now Facebook made it, since they own everything, you can do it for Instagram and all like that. So, all right.
Yeah, and TikTok has its own scheduler now, where if you do it from the desktop, you can schedule straight to TikTok that way, and you can bulk load for like a week, like a full week's worth of stuff, which is what I do. Like this morning, I sat down and I got everything in line for next week, so everything that goes to TikTok next week is already scheduled, and I don't have to worry about it.
So that brings up the next part. How do you schedule your time to do that?
I have a calendar that I live by, a planner.
Hyrum, what do you like?
I'm winging it.
What's that? You wing it?
I've been winging it since like 1943, and I wasn't even alive yet.
Yeah. Well, I've been a little bit. I've done a little bit of both. I've done winging it, and I've also done schedules. And honestly, I find that obviously we're better when we schedule things. I think because I think the problem with, especially with me, I don't know about y'all, but like Saturday mornings, right? We have Saturday, we have Sunday, and granted, we have things going on in lives. We have families, we got, pets, we got we got obligations. But, I'll wake up on a Saturday and I plan to write that day or newsletter or social media or whatever. And what do? I sit on the couch, I drink my cup of coffee, and I doom scroll through Facebook for no reason for hours on out, And so if I use my calendar and I have it on my, I use my calendar on my phone, and so it pops up. It's like, hey, you already have this time slotted, and that's like, oh, one less decision to make. It's already made, and so that kind of helps me get. We need to get. So,
ADD.
Yeah, I'm sorry, squirrel. So Lindsay Morelli says hello. Hello, I'm so glad you're here with us. One day we're going to have her on and we're going to interview her because I've known her since a long time ago, and she's a writer as well. She writes under a someone help me.
Name?
Yeah, that's it. It's been a long day. I'm sorry. Okay. I work. All right. But anyway, yeah, I know. Amazing. No, but anyway, she writes under a pen name. She's very successful at what she does, and I would, we need to get her on at some point. I would say the name, but I don't know if she wants that known. But if it is, Lindsay, if you're still here and you want to pop your name on the comment or what pen name you use, by all means, throw it on there. All right, so where were we before I got
calendars? So
calendars.
You use your phone,
your time, and
so I use Google Calendar, Google Calendars to just to remind me, like, okay, this is what I need to do. Okay, so she doesn't mind sharing her pen name, and it is Kathleen Cole and Frank Jensen, her husband. Romance, and it's she does very well. So, okay, going back calendars, and so I do that. That seems to work for me. Well, but here again, it's something I'm implementing back. That's my theme for this year. Going back to our first episode of themes versus, resolutions. My theme is to be more organized.
That's great, though.
My theme being joy. My sub theme is be less organized, because organization seems to tear my joy down. And so you have to find a balance, because I do know that I need to stay organized and all that. But maybe it's because I'm in a chaotic time of life. I mean, my company just shut down, layoffs, trying to find a new job. But I've been in a chaotic time of life for a long time. And so because my day job is generally so organized, my night times tend to be whatever I can do. And so I can do a lot really fast, and that's kind of how I consider my life. And so I try to, it's all about balance, like balancing time with the family, time with the kids and my wife, time fixing things around the house, because what's not actively being destroyed is falling apart due to time. And so anything else I can squeeze in. And the number one way I did that is by shutting off my social media. That I have a blanket ban on doom scrolling. Like, I can go on TikTok to check. I've only recently gone back on TikTok to check if I have comments to reply to. And I have on YouTube, I can go and I can watch a single shorts. I cannot watch two. I can watch one, and then I have to back to the main menu. And by doing that, I've cut my social media time probably down to about 10 minutes at a time, as opposed to eating my entire life.
You know, in a way, it seems to me like you're highly organized then, but you're also very
That's discipline, though. That is more of a discipline. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Right. Thank you.
My schedule is chaos.
Right.
My choices but my list of things I can choose from is very finite. Yeah. It does not involve social media.
That's great.
So, right. Okay. Yeah. So for you, I mean, you're whenever there's free time, there's no free time, because your time is always taken by something. So, okay.
Lately, Jen's book. Good.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
All right. Lindsay says, I thrive in chaos. I am finally at the point where I can pay others to be organized for me while I am a chaos demon. That's the dream. That's the dream.
See, right. I'm not that person. I need to be in control of everything, and therefore I cannot even think about paying somebody else to do.
Yeah, but let's say your social posts, like okay. All right, let's move on to the next thing. What do we, what's the next step? Marketing, right? Like, what do you use to make up your markups, right? And so what mock-ups, excuse me.
Yeah. Canva is my main one. Smart mockups, but that one's going out of business. They're about to go out.
Canva?
Wait, no, Canva's going.
Smart mockups is
smart mockups
closed. They're merging, I think, with Canva, and so but they're separate. They had way more options than Canva as far as mockups and stuff. But I like to put my fingers on everything, because I like my brand to look like me. And I'm worried that if I tried to hand that off to somebody, like, I would get final say, but then I'd be sitting there going, well, no, we need to change this, we need to change that. So why don't I just do it in the first place? Like, that's just kind of where I am.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to see what I would draw.
Yeah, it's fine.
In third grade, I got a grade. We got grades, but I'm pretty sure that we did not have handwriting as a normal grade. But one term, the teacher put handwriting as one of the listed grades on my report card and gave me a C-. And I think she hoped that would motivate me to have better handwriting. But in reality, all it did was make me realize, I'm doomed. So I'll just give up. And I never improved my handwriting since third grade.
Oh, shoot. Every time I sign my name, it's a different name.
That's hilarious.
So, I mean, my penmanship's horrible. Go ahead.
This is about choosing your strengths, because it sounds like Jen is strong in her brand. I am strong in letting other people who know what they're doing make pretty things for me.
And that's okay. Like, that is absolutely okay. I mean, honestly, my book cover went through multiple changes, and I finally just said, I'm doing it myself. Except for my first two books, I gave them a makeover. But this last one, like, I had to have a book cover, and I didn't like any of the ones that had been shown to me. So I was like, I'll just do it myself.
We should have an episode where we shout out all the great book cover editors that we know.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So kind of like Canva, I've used BookBrush for mock-ups, and that seems. I mean, I think I don't know if you pay for it or not. I guess I should probably research that before I come on here and talk about it. Sorry, but I use that. So first off, for those of you that have no idea what mock-ups are, basically mock-ups are things that you use in your ads, things that you use just to kind of get attention. You can, like if you look at the Facebook ads and you see like a little picture and a little book, or, some of them, like BookBrush, I know has the option to make book trailers and things of that nature. So that's what mock-ups are.
Yeah.
Okay, that should be another episode, is book trailers.
Like all of that kind of marketing stuff can definitely go into a whole another conversation. I do like Canva, the free one. It's great for your basics, but I do pay for the professional account. I mean, it's like $100 a year kind of thing. And I can share it with my sister, who also has her creativity turned on most of the time. And so we kind of collaborate on some stuff. And then also smart mock-ups, you can still get it until September, I think. And it's like $14 a month, and they have a bunch of those mock-ups that you can use. So,
but if they're going out of business, or is it just kind of like a grandfathered in once they merge?
It's a month to month right now. Like if you wanted to just go try it for $14, you could try it for $14.
So that's making pretty art.
Yep.
So Lindsay's 100% with you, Hyrum. And if she can do it, you can too.
Yes.
And she says that I'm not creative except in writing, so my visual stuff isn't amazing.
Yeah, and I wonder if that has to do with, and I don't know Lindsay, but I know Hyrum is a very analytical person. He's an engineer brain, that kind of thing. They're creative in their own right, but maybe not as artsy. So, maybe there's something to do with that. I don't know, because you, Josh, you do artsy stuff with like photography and stuff.
Right.
So, yeah.
I don't read books and see people in my mind's eye.
Really?
I don't know what that means.
So when you read a book, not most people, some percentage of people, when they read Wheel of Time, Nynaeve is always tugging on her braid.
Right.
I don't know what color her hair is. I don't know what color her skin is. I don't know if she's actually human. I don't care, because I read the description and it goes in one ear and out the other. I have no idea what a single character in Wheel of Time looks like. And I've read the first 9 books twice. Failed in book 9 twice.
How do you live?
I didn't know what eye color my sister had until she was 24.
Wow. I
didn't realize she looks like a clone of my mother until she was 24, when I noticed her eye color.
Oh my gosh.
So this is, and I've read about it. There's some serious people have, I think it's called aphantasia. You don't necessarily see things in your mind's eye. I can, if I put concerted effort. I have to physically force myself. Like, okay, closing my eyes. Shoot, I don't know what Jen's hair color is.
It's brown. It's brown.
Okay, it's brown. Josh, I think you might be graying.
Oh, geez, thanks.
That's it.
Me too, but it's covered.
Yeah. That's how little I can. I just don't retain it. Yeah, and it looks like Lindsay agrees.
So Lindsay says, same, I don't see the story in my head. I can, but I have to stop to think about it. I don't picture as I read. That is so weird.
Why?
I mean,
which is why that's white room syndrome coming out my ears.
But I have to say that's very talented. I mean, I can't even imagine writing a book not being able to picture things. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
so my first
astounding.
draft has no description almost ever. And so my second draft, I go through and I'm like, what are they seeing? What are they hearing? What are they smelling? I don't care, but I have to force myself to.
That's wild. Oh my gosh.
I just feel like I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Well, except I'm on the air and I have to think of something to say.
That is so wild. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, let's look at marketing. Let's go to the next thing. The marketing tools that we have not really talked about. We kind of talked about, but not really. No, I've got BookFunnel here on my list as a marketing tool. Have y'all used BookFunnel?
Yes. Well, that's the way you use to get your newsletter emails, right? Like how do you use BookFunnel?
Okay, so BookFunnel for me is how you're going to send out your arcs, how you're going to send out your have landing pages and that kind of thing, so that people can get to your newsletter, and that kind of thing. It's a very, very beefy tool for authors, and it's one that I think you have to pay for it. There's not a free version.
Right.
There's
it's like $100.
Yeah, like, and that's on the high end.
Right.
A book
Yeah, no, I have it.
$100.
What's that?
Oh,
It's
that's
like
if you're
for the
if you
year.
reach a certain level. It's
Yeah.
free until you get cool like
Yeah.
you.
So I have that, and yes, and that's how you collect it. You know, that's how you collect your your emails for your newsletter.
And it's how you would send out your ARC reads. Like if you're going to send advanced copies, your ebooks, they watermark them and all that jazz for you. You can get codes, generate codes for free books if you're going to give books away, that kind of thing. So it's a very hefty tool that I think every author should invest in at some point.
What's the difference to that in Booksprout? Because I know you mentioned Booksprout.
Booksprout is literally just to connect authors and ARC readers. So like you're going to upload your full manuscript, you're going to advertise. It's like, I think it was $30 for a month. And so you can put your book on there for a month, and people just find the books based on your genre. And so they're like, I'm looking for a sci-fi fantasy, and your name's going to come up, your book, your description. They're going to make a deal with you or an agreement with you. They're going to click on it, and by clicking on it, they're going to leave you a review places. And so it's that easy.
Yeah, I'm trying that one this time.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, we'll have to update our PowerPoint with those two.
Yeah.
But so the biggest part of marketing these days seems to be social media, in the sense of putting videos on Book Talk and Bookstagram and all that. Now, for those of us who hate that, or are unphotogenic, or simply are apathetic, besides making videos, what other options do we have for marketing?
Well, you have Facebook ads, you have Amazon ads, which, man, that size says a lot.
Have you taken Brian Cohen's class? Have you done his?
No, I haven't. And I think I read, I had, well, actually, I think I talked to Lindsay about it. Actually,
Facebook reader groups.
Yeah, Lindsay says Facebook reader groups, and that's true. See, but okay, here's another problem I have. I have a problem with figuring out what I write sometimes. like you write romance. Hyrum, you know what you write, and like mine, I'm like, well, it's mystery, but it's also paranormal, but it's also this, but it's all, it's kind of like Stephen King, but it's kind of
it's paranormal suspense, is it not?
Right. Well, right, but it's like, I don't know.
Like I've got a book that I'm working on. I was about 30% through and realized I want to go back and rewrite it based on new things I learned. If you want to get freaked out, go to search 17776. It's a very strange web story with a lot of images. It's about humans that have been alive for 15,000 years. It's the year 17776, and they're bored out of their minds, and all they do is play football across country. Anyway, that book just totally blew my mind, and I have to rewrite the story. It's a far future story, so it's got that whole difficulty of humans that are bored. How do you deal with that? I don't know how to put myself into a box, because it's kind of a cozy mystery, but it's also a hard sci-fi. And yeah, putting yourself in the box so you can advertise seems counterproductive at times, but that's what people want to check the boxes when they buy the book.
That's true. Right. So Lindsay mentions, she says NL swaps. She's talking about newsletter swaps. That's another thing that BookFunnel is good for, because you can go on there and they have what are called author swaps, I think, or book swaps. I can't remember. But you go on and you find other authors who have newsletters who are in your same genre, and you swap newsletters. You feature them in your newsletter, they feature you in theirs, that kind of thing. And so you're swapping newsletters. That's a fantastic way of doing it. Yeah, she uses BookFunnel and Story Origin. But I love BookFunnel, and they'll send you can even get like daily updates on different authors who have added their names to the book swap list. So you can go on and be like, oh, I'm going to swap with you. And it doesn't cost anything because you're just swapping out.
Well, that's something I need to look into.
Mm-hmm. And it's so easy. It's one of those, it's free. It comes with your book funnel, like once you've done that, but there's no extra cost to it and it's all there. So yeah, you just have to filter through the information.
Okay. So what's next?
I think we've beat the marketing horse to death. We've hit the 30-minute mark, but let's go and finish just these last.
Yeah, let's go ahead and finish this.
Hardware and gadgets. I can speak all day. We've already had some fun talking about how Apple's a cult. We can ignore that. But those are tools. So Apple products are great tools. They have some great software like Vellum that we've already mentioned in the previous podcast. I tried Atticus this last week. It's amazing for making an ebook. It wasn't as good for making the hard copy book. But that's mainly because I know how to use Word better than Atticus, apparently. So I was able to make what I wanted in Word, and I couldn't figure out Atticus. So yes, if you want a classic PC and you don't want to use any Apple products in your life because you have an aversion towards it, like me, you can do a PC. Just use Atticus and lots of other tools.
Well, I'm a PC guy myself. In fact, I do most of my writing at my desktop or my desk PC. I do have a laptop that I'll use like when I'm traveling, but I also got a Remarkable 2, which this thing's fantastic. The great thing about this is it's basically e-ink. I can write, I can type to it as well. And so what I'll do, or what I'm learning to do with this, is I will take, once I'm done with my writing or whatever, I'll download it into a PDF. I'll put it on here. And so I'll read. And the nice thing is I can mark it as I'm reading it. And so that's really helpful to me because when I go back to rewrite it on the PC, I'll scroll back and look at my notes and fix it. So that's what I'm using it for mainly. But it's a good tool to use. It's a little bit, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of e-ink things out there. I think there's one called the Free Write, which that could probably be another show altogether about the different, cool things and cool gadgets you could use. But this one's good because there's no lag when you're typing. Because that was another problem I had with some other tools that I've used in the past. Like I cannot stand writing and then it catches up. Like then the letters on the screen finally catch up. At least with this, it's pretty seamless.
Yeah.
I use a Bluetooth keyboard with my phone. I think it's a $40 one I have now. It's like armored, so I can actually carry it in my pocket, and it folds out, and it's a full-size keyboard.
Nice.
And it fits. It's barely bigger than my phone. So that is also an option. I've had no lag with that on an Android. It might have lag on an Apple.
Now, I will say this. I really wish there's another one out there called Books, and I haven't messed with that yet, but I think I've read
with
reviews. Yeah, Books with an X, Boox. And I've read that I think you can Bluetooth different keyboards to it in some of the reviews I read. Now, the only thing with the Remarkable 2 is it has a proprietary keyboard that you can get along with it. And to be honest, I really don't care for the keyboard because it's just, I don't know. I don't like it. But other than that, it's a good tool. Yep.
I have a Kindle Scribe.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I don't recommend it.
Really? Can you type to it, or is it just strictly pen or writing?
It's an on-screen keyboard, but it's fantastic for reading because it's got a nice big screen. It is not a good writer's tool.
No. Now we have here in the middle. I don't think we need to go into much detail on laptops versus all that, because I think anyone listening to this is probably tech savvy enough to have used a computer at some point and isn't writing with a piece of paper. But how you sit is so important. So I wrote my entire first book totally like in the thralls of depression. I wrote it on my bed with a laptop on my lap. It was fine. It was very lazy and it was what I needed at the time. I have been sitting at the desk since I had my treatment for depression actually work for the first time in 25 years. I've had 6 months of depression free and I sit at my desk again.
That's awesome.
But it hurts sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I see we're talking about ergonomic accessories. If you don't have a wrist protector, get yourself a wrist protector or 2 or 5. And if you don't, I've never used my sit to stand desk. I have a sit to stand desk. I used it like once and was like, this is miserable. And I sat back down and I've never stood up again.
Jeez Louise, I'm the opposite. I'm like, I'm sitting. I'm so tired of sitting. So I will stand and I will just lean on the desk and work for, I don't know, 2 hours. And then I'm like, oh, I could sit.
If you're flexible like me, get yourself a chair that's way too big for you. And now I'm a giant, but this chair is even bigger. I sit cross-legged on my chair, and that takes away the need for me to stand.
Nope, I got to do both, one or the other. Mm-hmm. She sits in her recliner. Now, I sat on the couch for my first book. I did. I sat on my couch with my first book. And,
Lindsay says that she sits in her recliner with her laptop.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so since my writing sessions aren't very long, I mean, like 25 minutes, 30 minutes at the most, I come here, bang it out, and then I'm done for the day. Because I can't.
If I have a writing session, it's 3 to 6 hours.
Yeah. So, and we all have different ways of doing it. So
yeah, absolutely, find what works for you. And that's the other thing. Like I work at my desk all day. I'm not just writing, but I'm working at my desk all day. So I can't just sit here the whole time. Like,
right. All right. I think
that last slide was online writing communities and resources.
Right.
I mentioned some of these, so let's just mention them as we close.
4 hours for right. Yeah, sounds about right. The Facebook groups. Yes, I think going back to that, Facebook reader groups, but also they have Facebook author groups that are fantastic. You can just search for author group and your specific genre and come up with tons of them.
Real quick. One of the best resources on Facebook for authors is 20 books to 50K.
Yes.
That is bar none the best. I mean, that's where I got all the information. That's where I've, I follow different people on there. They've thank you for putting that up there. 20 books to 50K. The letter 20 books to 50K. For those that are listening on Spotify or wherever else. But fantastic group. They don't suffer fools in that group. So when you go in there, you need to search to see if the questions have already been asked. And if it hasn't, then ask your question. But
they've asked a lot of questions.
Yes, and they ask a lot of questions. But the cool thing is there's varying levels of authors that are in that group. And it's really cool to see other people struggling with you. But they show like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where I was. And so it's kind of like, oh, thank goodness I'm not alone. And
be very careful, because 20 books to 50K is a good example of a good structure. If you join a Facebook group that is not structured, especially if it has no entry barrier, you're going to get porn.
Oh, well.
Or spam, marketing spam.
And the spam tends to be porn. That's what, like, they keep inviting you to join like groups that like to chats. Those are porn.
I get that on Instagram. Yes.
I have left any group that didn't have an entry requirement. It's gone. I've just cut it out because I kept getting.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely different qualities of, Oh, and that's another thing. Every question asked, someone moderates that too. So that's
why 20 books to 50K. So
good. Because there's some other groups I've been a part of where it's like they ask the same questions, or like they ask stupid questions. I'm sorry, I know that there's no such thing as a stupid question.
There are so many stupid questions.
Here, someone write this book for me. Or hey, I got this idea. What do you think? It's like, well, I'm not writing it. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway. But okay, so that's the Facebook groups. There's a lot of groups out there. There's a lot of great educational. Masterclass, fantastic. Mm-hmm. Also, BBC has one called Maestro. BBC Maestro, and the guy that writes Jack Reacher, Lee Child, he has a class on there. Ooh. And in fact, I think the other author, Harlan Corbin, is also about to release a class on BBC Maestro. Now with Masterclass, I have a subscription, and they had R.L. Stein. He has a good class on there. There's someone else. Oh, Neil Gaiman or however I can't pronounce his name. I'm sorry, but he wrote American Gods. Really good writer.
Nice. That's awesome.
Now, if you're listening to us, then that means you're also like free things. go listen to Writing Excuses, because that's what I did. I binged 17 seasons of Writing Excuses in about 6 months or so, maybe a year. I don't remember, it all blurred together, but they're spectacular. They're funny, and it was very helpful, because that includes Brandon Sanderson, Dan Wells, Mary Robinette Kowal, and Howard Taylor for the first 16 or 17 seasons. They've branched out since then, because apparently Brandon Sanderson got a little bit busy. But
lucky him.
Yeah. But that's a great one. There's a lot of free podcasts that you can find, bits and pieces that are really good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. All right. We're hitting 40 minutes, and I think we're good.
Yep. Josh says, I am tapping out. That's all.
Yeah, it's been a long day, guys.
He had a busy day.
Yeah, it's been a good day, but yeah.
If you have questions about which groups to join,
yes,
join our Discord chat.
Yeah.
We have the link there, and we'll put it in the liner notes. And we can talk directly, because we each are in different groups, and we can give you tips on which ones have been helpful and which ones have been less than helpful.
Right. And then also there's a bunch of courses out there that I've taken too, that I could probably give you 2 cents on. I'm sure the same with you two as well. There's a lot of good courses out there, and then there's some that aren't so good. So anyway,
for sure.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for spending your time with us, whether you're here live with us on Facebook or YouTube, or in the future, if you're driving along and you're listening to us now. We appreciate you spending your time with us. We hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to use your email and send us an email to authorsdilemma@gmail.com. Or you can always visit us at Facebook and pop along on there and say hello. So we'll be here next Thursday. The topic is to be determined, and we'll figure it out. So I can't talk.
Sounds good.
Good night.
All right, everyone. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.